Hello, I am live. Hello, my name is Cindy. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I'm just going to kind of do a live video because I like live and it's easier to put the video together when it's live, believe it or not. And I just wanted to give an update on my knitting, and I have some friends that are knitters. I also have a lot of teacher friends who like to talk about what they do in their free time. So this is something I do in my free time. I like to knit. On my channel, I have some videos about the Carolina shawl that I made, which I have right here, and I really do love it. This is made with wool from Knit Picks, and a friend of mine in town and we made these at the same time. It's very warm, and this type of wool is very durable and it doesn't pill. So that's really an awesome part about it. The one thing I didn't really want to do about a shawl is that, like, you have this piece in the middle like this, and it's hard to know what to do with it. Now with this, you can kind of tie it in the back. So you can tie it with tying the little ends in the back, and that's how you can wear it like that. So it's kind of hands free. Or I also have these little clips. They're like, they don't go into the yarn. It just kind of like holds it like this. You could even do like a ponytail holder thing to kind of hold the middle like this. The one thing, because like I teach school and everything, and I don't like to have something that I'm playing with while I'm in class. Another thing you could do is you could wear it with like a belt. So you could bring it down to your waist and get a belt and put that over the top if you like belts. So there's a lot of ways to wear it, and you can use it for casual, or you could even use it for dress up. I have a dress actually that is a little bit, this is like a greenish color. It's kind of like a forest green. It's really pretty. And my friend that made the same shawl, she made hers with that color green. It was kind of neat how we both picked the same color. But I wanted to pick something that would kind of match a lot of stuff. And I really love it. I love this wool. It's very warm. It's very good in the winter. I wouldn't wear it right now, obviously. Okay, so you got that one, and I made lots of videos on how to do it. It's really an interesting thing. What you do is you start at the beginning and you do like 4 or 6 stitches at the beginning, and then every row you're going to be adding. And it's hard to think about how it all works, but it kind of like you start here and it kind of come does like this, and then you end up with a triangle at the end. No, you don't end up with a triangle. I'll show you what it looks like. The triangle kind of makes itself because you're adding stitches at the beginning of the row and at the end of the row. Now, I really love this one that I'm making now. I'm making it for a friend, and this is a different type of yarn that I got at, I think I got it at Walmart or Michael. I might have got it at Michael's. It's called Scarfy from Lion Brand. And so whenever you're getting yarn, you want to look at your pattern and you want to look at the number of the yarn. Like this is a number, I think it's number 4 right here, number 5. Okay, so it gives you a little number there to tell you the thickness of the yarn. And so you need to make sure you know what you have. Now, this type of pattern, you can use any type of yarn, but if you use a smaller thickness, then you'll end up knitting more. So the thicker your yarn, the fewer stitches you're actually going to make, because it's going to be bigger yarn, that type of thing. So this kind of yarn is really great for a blanket, a lap blanket, something like that. But this right here is my second shawl that I'm making, and I'm making this for a friend. So I'm kind of in the middle of the row right now. These I'm on, so you can see how this works. This is on circular needles. These I got online and they're pretty inexpensive. They have like a plastic cable to them, and bamboo. I kind of like bamboo. They're not as slippery as the metal, but I like metal too. So this is the shawl, and you can see that every row I make more stitches. So this is the middle, and I love this because it kind of looks like, I don't know, tie-dye or that ombre type situation. So it goes dark and light, and I just think that's really cool. Gives it a completely different look than the other shawl. And I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger than I made the other one. So in order to figure out how that is going to go, I'm going to measure the from the top of that. I call it the spine, the middle part, the middle section. I'm going to measure on the one I made already and finished. I'm going to measure that, and then I'm going to compare it to this one, and I'm going to make this one bigger because I think I would like, I mean, if I could, if I redo this one, I think it was the size that the pattern suggested, but I think I would like it a little bit bigger so that it's just not so fitted. I don't know. I'm not sure. But this one I'm going to make a little bigger because I want it to, I'm giving it to a friend, and I'm thinking this person is going to be like, you know, enjoying maybe sitting out on the deck with some fresh air and having a little shawl on. And I don't think it's going to be like a my situation where you're teaching and you need hands free and all that stuff. So I think I'm going to make this bigger. And the person I'm making it for saw me with my shawl and said, I want one of those. So I said, okay, I'll make you one, but it's taking me a lot longer than I thought. But it is not something I do constantly. I'm not knitting constantly. I do a lot of other things, as you may know. I'm still working on my tutoring business. I'm working on putting together a landing page. I have someone helping me with it right now. I'm working on policies and procedures, which I need policies and procedures to put on the page, as well as like policies about cancellations and things like that. So I never really thought about this as being, I get it that it's a thing, but you got to be careful that you do everything legally, right? Because you might get people from places you don't really know, and you need to make sure that you tell them ahead of time what your plans are, and so that there's no misunderstandings, and then you don't end up teaching for free, right? Which I have done before. But so I'm really excited because I do have some tutoring this summer, and I would like to find a few more clients to work with. For right now, I do have some going on, and I'm just kind of practicing. So I have a friend that she might let me work on some things with her daughter as well, so that I can kind of practice and fine tune my plans and abilities. And my plan is I have 3 offers. I have a one-time 30-minute consultation that I will do with the parents, and I have like a calendar all set up, and the parent can go there and choose what time that they want to book. Then I have a 25-minute class and a 50-minute class, and I'm going to open my times on what I'm using is TidyCal, and it's a free app that you can do, and you can put a link and send it to your whoever wants to book with you, and then they can pick whatever time is available. So you can kind of open up what times that are going to work for you, and then you can have people book on the calendar. So if they say, yes, I'm interested, you don't have to go back and forth with times that, oh, does this work for you? Does that work for you? You can just send them the calendar, and they can see when you're available, and they can choose a time, and then that's it. So it's easy peasy, right? So I'm just looking for clients. So if you know anyone, let them know that I have a math tutoring business open, and I am ready for clients, and they can contact me either below this video. Just have them say, "Hey, I'm interested. Please send me an email and give me your email address." I don't have my landing page set up, but what I'm working on is I have a free PDF, and actually I could post that below this video. And it is a PDF that will it kind of lists the main topics that you need to make sure your kids know for grades 1 to 8. So these are things that I teach, and I think those are the most important ones because you could drown in the sea of possibilities. So I kind of like to narrow it down and make sure the kids have these certain topics, and these are the most important things. And then you'll know you're on the right track. You can download that PDF. It also has my information for my tutoring business, which might evolve over time. So, because like I said, I'm working on a website and different things like that. So, I also wanted to talk today about my library and the fun that I had at the recent Library Classic Book Club. So, our library, as you know, I am involved in my library. I don't know, I've just kind of gotten interested in going to the trustee meetings and finding out what's going on at the library, and ended up as a trustee myself. So last March, I ran in my town as on the ballot. I think there were more trustees running this year than there have been ever in the history of our library. Usually there's 3 trustee positions and they rotate every year. So usually there's like one person on the ballot. Everybody votes for that one person and you're done. But this past year, I think we had 2 positions open because one person was voted in, and she couldn't, for health reasons, couldn't stay in the position. So there was one position for 2 years, and then there was another position for 3 years open. And I think 3 people ran for the 3 year and 2 people ran for the 2 year. So there were 5 people running this year. So there was a really huge interest in the library. But I won for the 2 year position. And so I've been working there. I also was appointed by the Board of Selectmen before that. So I had been on the board already for a few months. So yeah, so we started one of the staff members organized a classic book club, which we have now decided to call it the Last Monday Classics. Last Monday Classics, because it's going to be the last Monday of the month and it's a classic book club. So the last book that we read was Of Mice and Men. No, 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 I'm sorry. That's the next one. That's the one I'm going to be reading next. But the last book club was For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I have to tell you, I did not actually read the book. I watched the movie. My husband he read the book and then he set up the movie one night, and I had kind of forgotten about it actually. And he set up the movie and we started watching it, and this is by Ernest Hemingway. And we got into it and I was like, this is like terrible. It was about war. It was about people being tortured. It was horrible. And so after I watched the movie, I was like, and you read this in a book? I don't think I want to go back and watch and read the book. Of course, I'm really busy, so I didn't actually read the book. So, yeah, it's not really a classic book club true to form because you don't really have to read the book. You could even just come for the discussion. You don't even really have to watch the movie or read the book. You could just enjoy the discussion. But anyway, we talked about the book, And it was very interesting. We had one lady there who it was her first time coming to the book club. This book club is, I think it's 1 year. It was the 1 year anniversary of the book club. The very first book that we discussed was called Little Women. And we had a great time. There was a little girl there, and it was really precious. So we talked about that book the first day. There were no kids at this book club recently. I wonder why. But I went away from the movie and I said, "I need to look up some stuff about Ernest Hemingway." Ernest Hemingway was oh, hi. Hi, Carrie. Stopping in before Michael's Bible early every morning. Okay, yeah, thank you so much for coming. So, Garrick, I think her name is Carrie in I think her name is backwards, but she's a friend I met from YouTube, and you can actually meet people by being a YouTuber, which is really amazing. I have some great friends that I've met by doing YouTube, and that's why I do it. I know I have friends that keep up with my knitting. I have friends that just really you're correct. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, Carrie is a friend that I met from This Way Network, which is a really interesting network that I have a few videos over there about education. And Carrie, I'm still doing education. I'm on my school board. I'm actually running for New Hampshire state rep now. So stay tuned. I try not to put too much political on my channel, but I really don't feel like I'm being political. I'm just being a citizen, getting involved in my community. So that's how far I'm going with this. But back to the library, there was one girl that was there that was her first time. Her neighbor had invited her, and her neighbor didn't even show up. But I was glad the lady came because she had the greatest time. She read the book. She was very interested. Carrie says, I try to watch your math. I've been out of school way too long. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's good to know. And I will be putting more videos on. And I like to show people I want to do tutoring virtually. And for some people, that is like they get PTSD thinking about it. But there's really actually a lot of good ways to teach online. So I like to share that in my tutoring videos as well. So back to the library, one lady came who it was her very first time. Another lady came who she is actually a beekeeper in my town, and she did a class all on beekeeping. And I think I put a video up on my channel about that. She's amazing and she loves books. So she came and a few other friends that are also book lovers. And there was one man there that came, and he's so interesting. He actually is a storyteller. And I didn't realize that he had studied all about Ernest Hemingway and the book and had a lot to tell. He actually told us too. I had met him before, but he didn't really tell me a lot about himself and his history. But he lives in the town. He plays the guitar. So next classic book club, he's gonna come a little early and bring his guitar. He said that he has an album out. So I told him I need to go to an antique store so that I can play his album. Thank you, Carrie. I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah. So it was very interesting. So we have the staff member that has started the club. She is moving on to another job. And so I think his name is Paul. He is going to continue the classic book club. And the next book that we're going to do is Of Mice and Men. So we talked about the book and we talked about Ernest Hemingway. So the book is all about the Spanish Civil War, and it was before World War II. And from what we discussed, I can't say this is actual fact because I didn't look it all up, but from what we understand, it was kind of a precursor to World War II. And it was kind of sad because they had guns and they had, they even had some automatic weapons and they had hand grenades, but they were kind of sunk when the airplanes went overhead. So the story is all about how they knew that the enemy was approaching and they knew that there was a bridge. And if they could just, you know, uh, blow up the bridge, they would be safe. And so it was all about how they were going to, there was a group of people that lived in the caves and they were going to blow up the bridge to save their country or their part of the country. So it was a really sad story, but we talked about all of the characters. We talked about like who our favorite character was, and we talked about the tragedies. And it was kind of interesting because the book was a pretty thick book and it was covered only 3 days. So there was a lot of words for just 3 days. That was something interesting that I came away from it. And also, the descriptions. When you look up Ernest Hemingway, he did have a lot of experience with wars and tragedy. And, it just kind of made you feel good that, we have it so good right now, even though we have our problems. We haven't, as Americans, if you're in my country, um, I we have it pretty good where I live, and we do complain a lot about different things, but things could be worse, as they say. So the classic book club was a real great way I thought of to bring people together from different walks of life and in our own town. So I would totally recommend that you would go to your local library and get involved. And it's a good way to meet community members and connect. If you don't have a classic book club, I know our library welcomes people to come in and start a club, start your own club, and connect with people in your community. And I would totally recommend that. A lot of times we look at who are you going to maybe vote for on the national level or on the state level. But really the way that we need to connect with people is face to face. And that's a great way to do it. And if you disagree with each other, it's a time and place to share your views and to try to understand each other. Bring out different points of view. Sometimes we look at someone with a different point of view and we get mad at them. Why do they believe this way? How can you even think that? But maybe instead of asking, how can you think that, we can talk about, how do you think? And share with each other. Because I think that for the most part, people do agree that we should try to get along and we should work together. Um, and you can't do that if you don't respect each other for who you are as a person. So that's what I learned from the library book club. And the other thing that happened was toward the end, we ended up laughing. Like, I don't know what we were laughing about looking back. Of course, Paul, who's a storyteller, he had a lot of funny things to say. And we just enjoyed the time. So we ended up coming away with smiling and being happy. And I think that that is what our country was founded on. We want everyone to have the right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we need to keep pursuing happiness, however, which way we can. And not just keep it to ourselves in our own little circle, but try and reach out to others. We're going to reach out, we're going to meet people that we agree with, but we also need to meet up with people that are different than we are, and we need to try to get along. So anyway, those are my fun things. I love knitting because I can get together with people and we can knit and we can create. And then when we as a matter of fact, I have 2 sweaters in mind that I need to make for the fall. I have a new grandchild on the way. I think that my daughter is due in December, I think she said. Maybe end of November, December. And if I make a sweater for that one, I need to make one matching for the older brother. I think that's what I'm going to do. They live in Georgia, so that would be a perfect time for him to get a sweater. And I want to make the sweater that I made for my grandson that I made. He was born in March. So I think I'm going to make the same pattern, which was Kathy Kelly, who I meet up with on YouTube a lot of times. She's a fellow teacher friend, and she gave me the pattern. And she's also a sock knitter, a fellow sock knitter. She learned how to make socks with me. I have a sock knitting group on Facebook. I also have a can do math group on Facebook as well. So I have a lot of things going, and I love hobbies in the summer. And so I wanted to show you, I do have a lot of gardening videos. Um, I also have a tower garden, and I did not set them up this year. So I'm kind of like not gardening right now. But when I look out where my garden was, I went out this morning, and it was really cool because even though I didn't plant the garden, I have these beautiful wildflowers growing, which some people might call weeds, but I call them blessings, and it's so pretty in my front yard. So that's about the extent. And I do have some mint. Mint is growing because that is something that grows back every year, which that's a really great thing to do, is to get things that grow back every year. Then you don't have to plant from seed or from, buy plants and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to end the video here. And for those of you who are stopping by to watch a replay, I really appreciate it. And if you would give this video a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And post below. Let me know that you came by, and let me know what you're doing in your free time if you're a teacher. And if you're not a teacher, I hope you have some free time to do some things that you enjoy. So I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.